Session 4 of Paul on Assignment, and we've been looking at how Paul operated in Athens, but he left Athens and he went south to Corinth. Now Corinth was situated on the northern part of an area of land called the Peloponnese, and this area is joined to the rest of Greece by a very narrow strip of land, about 3 kilometres wide. It became an important port because apparently ships preferred, rather than sail right around the base of the Peloponnese, they wanted to go through, and so they would sail up to this narrow strip of land, unload their cargo and have it hauled overland to a ship on the other side, and they'd sort of cut through that way. They've now cut an enormous canal there, it's a pretty amazing one. But anyway, Corinth was situated right there, and so they became a busy port, and it brought great commercial benefit to the town. Corinth had earlier been destroyed in battle, and in 44 BC, Julius Caesar began to rebuild it, and he made it into a Roman colony. That is, that it had Roman law, Roman structure in every way, and also lots of buildings that they were building for them. It was looked down on by other places because the Romans populated it with slaves, ex-slaves and poor people, and so it was seen as sort of the dregs by other places. Also, its main temple was to Aphrodite, the god of love, and in their main temple it said at one time there were 100 prostitutes who were plying their trade, and so it was a very immoral place and really looked down upon. Being a Roman colony, they lived as Romans did, which was a very hierarchical society. So a wealthy Roman would be at the top and a slave would be right down the bottom, and then there was every step between. Everybody knew their place in society, and that's where they stayed. So Paul left this sophisticated city of Athens and he went to Corinth, a place regarded as the pits. He went alone, and he must have wondered, how on earth am I going to do anything here in this place? But though he went alone, God had prepared already a place for him, because one of the first people he met in the forum was Aquila, and this was a Jewish lady who'd left Rome because they'd been pushed out of Rome, but she was a Christian. And she was also a tent maker, she and her husband, and that's Paul's trade. And so she invited Paul to live with them and to work with them in their trade. He started out teaching in the synagogue, but the Jewish people wouldn't listen. And so he went to the few people who were already Christian in the area. In Athens, he'd caught the attention of the thinkers by talking about Jesus' resurrection. But here in Corinth, he says, I resolved to know nothing while I was with you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. So why the different emphasis? Well, these weren't educated thinkers. They were poor people, oppressed by the class system that they lived under. And what they needed most of all was to hear the message that God loved them, God valued them, whether they were a slave or a rich person. Each one was of equal value to God. We also see Paul did things differently here. He spent a short time in Athens challenging the way they thought, but here he spends 1.5 years. He lived among the people, he worked among them. He became one of them. Now it obviously wasn't an easy time for him, because at one stage he had a vision from God, and God said to him, "Do not be afraid, keep on speaking, do not be silent, for I am with you, and no one is going to attack and harm you, because I have many people in the city." So it was a bit of a hard slog for Paul, and he needed that reassuring and encouraging. Now we know that the people of Corinth didn't get it right all the time. One of the letters that he wrote to them, he had to rebuke them for the way they were celebrating the Lord's Supper. It sounded very much like they treated the Lord's Supper like they would a Roman feast, where the wealthy would get all the good food and wine and the slave would be left with nothing. And this was the very meal that was supposed to signal the oneness of all people. No Jew or Greek, slave or free, male or female. All are one because Jesus died for all alike. And this was the message that the people of Corinth needed to hear.
Who am I that the highest King would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the sun sets free, always free. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Free at last, he has ransomed me, his grace brought me. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the Son sets free, always free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God, yes I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Who the Son